Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast. In this podcast, we aim to entertain, inform, and promote the hobby of scale model kit building with interviews, reviews, and news about the hobby. The podcast is available bi-weekly where your favorite podcasts are found, including iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also get it from our website at scalemodelpodcast.com, where you can find show notes, photo gallery, and so much more. You can also subscribe to get notifications on all our updates, new episodes, and video content. Please support the Scale Model Podcast on Patreon. Patreon supporters enjoy early access to content and exclusive contests. Your Patreon support helps us to offset hosting and other costs to bring the podcast to you. Welcome to episode 150 of the Scale Model Podcast, sponsored by Cult TV Man and Sean's Custom Model Tools. I'm your host, Stuart Clark, and those regular listeners will remember last episode 149, I said it was cold. Well, for episode 150, it's even colder. It's like minus 14 with a minus 20 wind chill right now in southwestern Ontario where I am. And I'm also joined by just southwest of me by the lake where it's probably even colder. Mr. Geoff Highland, how are you, sir?
It's cold. I'm freaking cold. It's really, really cold. And
Arctic vortex.
I got to tell you, it has been years since Lake Erie has had any material ice on it.
Yeah.
And since we've owned this place, we've been here since 2009. We have seen a couple of seasons where it was frozen over to the horizon, or I could actually walk out on the ice and follow a fog.
Right.
Right now, it's still open, but there's icebergs floating all over the place. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2 years we see some 2 days we see some solid ice forming on the lake. So I'm looking forward to that. It's cold,
definitely, and also equally as cold, but in Fahrenheit, just kind of west of Chicagoland. Mr. Terry Measley, how cold is it down there, Terry?
Right now it's like 4 below out there. It was about 8 or 9 or somewhere in that range overnight last night. So
before recording, we decided we didn't want to do the math. It's just cold.
Yeah, I can do it in my head. I'm just not.
No, that's okay.
you know, guys, we screwed up. We really should have prepared for this with a couple of "how cold is it" lines. You know, we really
prepared.
It's so cold. How cold is it?
It's so cold. Anyway,
it's so cold.
The dogs get a short walk. It's so cold. The dogs only get a short walk,
and they're probably
go down to the park.
And they love
they're fine with it. The only thing salt, of course.
Yeah,
but when it's dry, salt's not so bad.
Right.
It's when it gets really, really cold, like 20 below or so. The concrete's just too cold for them.
Oh, poor things.
Which is tough now because all of the hardscaping in the back is got to be cold.
Yeah,
they have to run past that and take care of business.
They'd be okay on snow, though, right?
Oh yes, no. If we go down to like the park or something, we try to just keep them in the yards.
Yeah,
and then get across the street real quick and into the park.
Yeah, there you
go.
Fortunately, that's just the end, just a block down. And we make sure it's all closed up and then let them romp around to their heart's content.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, so we've talked about ourselves. We've talked about dogs. My cats are asleep upstairs. So at least 2 of them are. I think the third one's trying to get down here, but he seems to have settled down now. So let's talk about the news. An absolute plethora of news.
Okay.
Well, I'm in abundance at least.
In abundance.
Even a plethora.
Exactly. So let's talk about first some sad news. This is hot off the press. We're recording this on the 20th of January. Famous aviation artist Roy Huxley passed away over the weekend. For those who don't know the name, he is the guy that pretty well painted every Matchbox aircraft kit cover art, or for most Matchbox kits back in the 70s. A lot of action stuff and all that. You would recognize his work. As a wee lad in the 70s, I would buy the kit most of the time, based on that action-packed cover art. So I've linked up to one of the many Facebook messaging about it. From a friend of Roy's talking about this. Roy was the artist behind most of the Matchbox model kill illustrations and therefore inspired an entire generation of us aviation artists with his superb action-packed paintings. And it's true. unlike Roy Cross's Airfix ones, his were always action packed. Like I remember the Hurricane, the Mark II one, which is in this link here. It's attacking a German airfield. You were seeing that machine guns blazing, hangars blowing up, all
Ah,
that good stuff, all that good stuff.
bombs dropping.
Bombs dropping,
Yeah,
and
they always did a great job, and Hasegawa always did a great job with the paintings as well. Those are
yep,
gorgeous paintings.
yeah.
Oh,
Now, what do we get? Photos.
yeah, and don't
Yes
talk to
and
me.
no.
Yeah,
Now,
not
some
the
of them are
same.
not photos. Some of them
Yeah,
are
I think
like.
that
Go ahead, Terry.
yeah, the company's pretty much heard the the verdict on that. People don't want just a photo of the model on there. On the
Yeah.
sides, sure, but
Yeah,
not on the cover. You think of, anything from, from classic airframes on to Arma and everything else. There, it's all artwork.
yeah,
Right.
and to be fair, the more modern Airfix kits are coming out with the CG or computer graphics art, which is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And
is.
stuff like Coterra and some of the other expensive ones, you're getting a print of the art of the box art as
Yep.
well, and is appreciated.
Yep.
Yes.
So there is a book that features Roy's work that if you could
Mm.
find, it's well worth it. I keep my eyes open for it. One day I'll hope to have a copy of it. But we send our sympathies to his widow from the Scale Model Podcast. All right. I also got an email from our good buddy James Skiffen from the Model Officers Mess. They having in March the 14th. They're having the 48 in 48-hour build.
Ooh.
Was that
Good.
48 models in 48 hours? Is that
No,
A
no,
48 scale kit?
yeah, in 48 hours. But they're kind of really loose about it. But
Okay.
the idea is it is for model. It's a fundraiser for Models for
yeah.
Heroes, which is
Oh,
the
nice.
charity over there for helping veterans with PTSD. We have Operation Vet Build, and I believe the Legion or IPMS USA has something in the US as well, Terry.
Yeah.
They have a similar program. So it's 48 hours set to kick off on Friday, the 14th of March, promising 48 hours of camaraderie, creativity, and charity. And you can get more information at www.48-48.org.
It's a
Um,
reason to dust off some of those old Otakis or Revell 48 scale fighters because there's nothing inside them. You may as well just blank out
well,
or
exactly.
blew out the glass, and
I've got a trumpeter 48 scale Westland Whirlwind with a
that's not
pretty
a
low.
48-hour kit.
Well, it's a pretty low part count. And again, if I get it done, I get it done. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what I end up doing. Other news, Scale Color, Mike Hearn's company, paint company, it's been purchased by Squadron.
Is it?
Yes, they announced that on Friday, so they're now known as Squadron Scale Colors. So Geoff's staying on with the business as an advisor. So yeah, you can actually now order those right now from Squadron, 325 US a bottle. Quite high. I've never used it, but quite high regards for the color matching for your aircraft kits. So that's now available at squadron.com.
That seems like seems like to me a good acquisition for Squadron because
Hmm.
a lot of them have their own captive lines.
Yep. Yep. So I think that's good. Um, Hobby Merchandiser magazine. They're also a good one to check out. It's an industry journal. So just to start off with there, two stories I noticed there. Bandai's raising the prices and they're opening a new factory. I did hear rumors of this. So apparently from progressively increased from April 2025, they've announced. The first price increase since Gundam plastic models hit the market in 1980 was due to increased costs of raw materials and logistics, the company affiliated with Bandai Namco Holdings said. They'll raise the price of 71, including Gundam models, by 2.9 to 42.9% from April to June next year. The company also plans to raise prices beginning some other products beginning in July. They're also constructing a new factory for the Gundam plastic model kits and figure in Shizuoka City, which will become operational in 2025. Shizuoka is also where they have the big model show every year.
First increase since 1983.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how that quite that works out, but
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
that's the press release. So
For maybe for margins.
maybe.
Maybe.
Um, production capacity expected to increase by 35% to meet growing domestic and global demand. In 2024, Bandai sold more than 26.34 million plastic model kits and figures, and 50% of those sales came from outside Japan. The company has shipped nearly 1 billion model kits, billion with a B, since 1980.
I remember they had troubles keeping up with the Star Wars kits for a while.
That's right. So, they're obviously trying to do it. Also from the same link, model kit market set to grow through 2028. The global hobby kit market is estimated to grow by 3.65 or 219 million through 2028, according to research firm Technavio. The growing disposable income of the middle class population is driving market growth, along with the growth in 3D printing. I guess I'm not middle class. You know. Oh, sorry. Was that my?
Global middle
Yes.
class.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Well, I mean,
hobbyist.
that doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, because what is it? The average hobbyist spends $200 a year or
Yeah,
something
apparently. Yeah, remember that meme. The
On
hobbyist
paint.
on paint. Yes, on brushes.
on
Uh,
one kit. On one kit.
Well, there's that too.
So they're also saying increased access to global media sources. Online sales have become a significant revenue stream with e-commerce platforms and digital design tools, enabling hobbyists to create and purchase models from anywhere. The emphasis on licensed merchandise, particularly for movie and TV franchise tie-ins, have also boosted sales. So, yeah.
None of that's news.
Well, it's, they get some numbers.
But as you've always told us, Stuart, the hobby is dying.
The
So.
hobby is dying, definitely, right? People keep saying that, and maybe we have to stop. Maybe we have to stop believing them.
Yes, I don't know. Why would
You
we
know,
stop believing them? Yes.
yeah. Okay, and then I understand there was an IPMS Canada website snafu.
Yeah, I tried to. Well, I thought it was just me, but I tried to renew my membership over the weekend, and I tried twice, and I thought, oh, geez, I've paid twice because I didn't get any kind of feedback through PayPal or anybody. And then IPMS Canada tech guy sent an email to all members saying, "Guys, sorry about that. The website's been down. Thanks for somebody for telling me that. But it's back up again. So." It'd be nice if if they would make sure that these things work before they ask for your renewal, because we all got our RTs in the last 3 weeks.
Now that's interesting because I didn't get that email.
Interesting. Well, I did. I got it, and
Maybe they only sent it to the people that were affected.
well, I don't think so. It was a blast. It was a news
Okay,
blast.
interesting.
So, in any event, I'd also been communicating with Frank Donati, who's the president of IPMS Canada, just asking him if this was a normal issue, if he'd come across it. He says, yeah, it's a normal problem. They're trying to change things and upgrade some of their technology, and in due course, perhaps they'll get there. But right now, for all you guys out there who are IPMS Canada members or who want to become IPMS Canada members and obtain copies of the famous RT online magazine and Beaver Tales and all that good stuff, then you can do that now. The website's up and running and it works. And I tested it this morning and it does work. So
Good stuff. Yeah, I just got my RT, which was late, obviously, because the postal strike came with decals and masks.
it's really good. It was a really good issue. So
good issue.
Kudos to Steve Selvey, the editor who put it together.
Right.
But we also got our Beaver Tales, which is the online one. I had them reversed in my last comment. Beaver Tales is an online publication about every 4 times a year or something like that.
Yep.
And we'll talk a bit about one of the stories in there later because
exactly.
it has to do with one of my builds. So we'll deal with that.
All right. Also came out today. The second vice president from IPMS USA came out with the national numbers from IPMS 2024 NATS this year. So 1,012 members attended the convention, 92 different vendors and 403 tables. 764 people bought one-day passes. These are family passes, so they represent a larger number of people. 2,667 models were entered into the contest, and over 600 models were on display for the first ever Tiger Meet. Some of those were entered into the contest on Friday.
Now, the Tiger Meet was like the display only.
Display only,
right?
yeah, like what they do at Telford in
Yep.
England and in Europe quite a bit. This is the first time they did it, so looks like it's a hit. So I'm sure we'll be seeing a repeat of that in 2025
That's a great idea.
down at Virginia Beach. So 2,667 models. That is one hell of a lot of kits.
Yeah. A lot of builds.
A lot of
Wait,
builds.
wait till Wonderfest comes. They'll blow that out of the water, right,
Oh,
Terry?
definitely.
Numbers wise,
Just being optimistic.
I'm optimistic.
He's
Yes.
optimistic. Speaking of optimistic Airfix range launch that happened last week.
Mm,
You think Airfix would schedule it around our recording? They
you'd
don't
think.
seem to, yeah, I know they don't seem to do that, but a lot of new tool items, a lot of interesting things, a lot of stuff, vintage classics being renewed, other stuff coming back out. Couple of highlights. I know Geoff will like this, the 1 to 144 SLS Artemis rocket
Yes, I saw that.
with the gantry.
Yeah, the problem is I've got a whole bunch of them in 1/200 scale now, and all the different, like the old AMT Man and Space Kit, and then
Yep, yep.
Shuttle and various other things like that. So 144, it's good. I'll take it, but yeah, too bad.
Yeah. Also the Sepcat Jaguar and the GR1, the GR1A 148. That's one people have been
mm,
waiting for a
hmm
long time.
Yeah,
I know people were really happy about that. Other stuff included a couple, you have to have a couple of Spitfires. The one I found fascinating is the TR9, the two-seater Spitfire in 148 scale, and they also have the Spitfire Mark 9E. For those who don't have the room for the 124 scale Mark 9E, you can now get it in 148 scale.
there you
Uh,
go.
a lot of vintage classic announcements, including the Sopwith Pup in 172nd scale, the German E-boat, the Vosper MTB, and the RAF Rescue boat. So they've reissued all three of their 172nd scale boats from World War II. So that was interesting. The Boeing 314 Clipper. I know some people are excited about that who like flying boats.
What,
Um,
what what scale is that one again?
that's the 144.
144. That's been out for a while. Yeah,
Yeah, 1967 that mold dates from.
yeah.
So, not as old as the Lockheed Hudson, which was from 1963,
wow.
Wow.
172nd scale. So they're bringing that back out. A lot of re-releases. So yeah, a lot of the normal moaning, but a lot of people are really excited about some of the releases. So that'll be good to see. All right, that's the news, shall we say? Hobby announcements. Our good friend at Paragraphics. I checked this out. This is pretty wild. The 1/1000th Strange New Worlds Enterprise Bridge for your polar lights. 3D printed
In
and you
clear.
in clear. And
Hmm.
you can install it in there and it's got the bridge, the seats, everything in 1/1000th scale.
Yeah. Clear means you can light up all those display screens.
That's right.
And you know someone will do that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we'll have to talk to our buddy Ron.
I
You
haven't
know,
built a Trek ship in ages, but yeah, I'll pick this up because I do like the look of
yeah.
the
Pre-order
new look of the new Enterprise.
pre-order that bridge modules 1595, 1/1000th.
There you go.
Affordable, eminently affordable.
Yep, exactly. Well, much like many, many awesome things that our good friends at Paragraphics. Okay, what else we have? Remember last year we had John Chang, Scale Scriber. He was working on that space shuttle, if you recall, and like hand scribing it and all that. Well, he's come out with a book
Mm,
because he also does fighters. So he's got from the modeling master file, how to master low visibility modern aircraft. And he features a couple of F-16s and an F-18. So just a gorgeous, gorgeous looking book, A4, full color, 96 pages. It's going to be about $30 US from Hobby Link Japan. Expected release date February 2025. Based on what I've seen from some of the pictures, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's hard to tell just from the pictures, but it does look good. It's certainly high quality, and it's double language or dual language,
Yeah.
Japanese and English. So those books are always useful.
And we should point out the F-18 is obviously a CF-188, so it's a Canadian F-18.
Yeah.
Hasegawa is 48 scale, so that'll be fun for Canadian modelers.
Hmm.
Definitely, definitely well worth checking out. Okay, Hobby Boss is a couple of AFVs. for February, starting with the IDF. Is it Namer? I believe so. It's their heavyweight armored infantry fighting vehicle the Israelis have.
Mhm.
Uh, this was modernized. The program was started in July 2007 through new cutting edge technology. It was unveiled to the public in 2008, sorry. And funding for the pilot production had 15 track vehicles, and they produced far more now. So it's basically, if you've got a Merkava and you want to have something to go along with it, there you go. What else do we have here? We have 1,100 parts.
What else do we have? We have
Linked
1,100 parts.
linked tracks, I
It
bet.
has tracks.
It has
Yes.
tracks, yes.
That's right.
Multi-slided mold, lower hull and upper hull, individual tracks, photo etch parts included. So yeah, nice looking kit. The other one is a BMP 1P by Hobby Boss again, first produced in the late 70s. It was an integration of a anti-tank guided missile launcher, replacing an older system. So again, bunch of different schemes there. These were also used by the Soviet you know, these could be airdrop the parachute core. So yeah. So again, individual track, 630 parts, 154 millimeters in length, 76 millimeters in width. Nice looking detail. Got some photo etch, and they're soon going to be available through the distribution network of Hobby Boss. Okay, game tie-ins. Tesla tank from Border Models.
Oh, I like
I
this.
like it. Yep.
Yep, for all you Red
Just
Alert
want to
fans,
do Tesla
here's
tanks.
here's a Tesla tank for you.
Oh, I can see lots of interesting electronic light up capabilities for that thing.
Oh,
You can get
definitely.
small Van de Graaffs.
Exactly. That's what I was
Yep.
thinking. Something like that. That would be cool.
Yeah, that looks good. Announced for 2025. It was on ScaleMates. I noticed it there, so I had to include it.
Yeah,
Just
looks
look
like
at that thing.
leopard based, I guess. Looks like it.
Yeah, looks like it.
And then all the rest of it is the superstructure and stuff's all a little bit different.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Looks fun
exactly.
though. I
Yeah,
like it. I like it a lot.
looks like it's gonna be a fun kit in
And that
1/35th
goes
scale.
along with their
Yep,
Apocalypse yeah,
yep,
4-track deal.
and their Grizzly battle tank.
And the Grizzly, yep.
Yep. So yeah, lots of neat stuff that Border's been coming out with on that IP. The other one I noticed was this World War II German motorcycle, the Zundap KS 750
Yeah, that looked nice too.
from Seoul Resin Factory. I happened to notice this too in the new releases, and I had to they had quite a number of good detail shots on the ScaleMates listing for it, so I had to include that. And
Well done.
1/16th, I should say. Sorry, I think I said 1/35th. So that looks very very nice. That's the new scale, 1/16th. People are building them.
Yeah, it's good for
And
my eyes.
yep.
Hmm.
And then Trumpeter had their catalog release, and two things that were on there. They're going to be releasing an S-3B Viking anti-sub U.S. Navy aircraft in both 1/32nd scale and 1/48th. The 1/32nd scale one's going to be huge.
That's gonna
Well,
be yeah.
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed
That
that
we'll actually see it.
that we'll actually see it and it'll be better than the old Ertl
True.
or AMT or whoever that was.
That's a low bar, though.
Well, Ertl, that was the 72nd scale one, wasn't it?
No, they had 48th.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of I had a 72nd scale one, and it was okay.
It was, yeah.
It was okay for that era, but it wouldn't qualify today. But
No.
anyway,
So that'll be good for U.S. Navy fans. And then we have for those who don't have enough wingnut wings, flying boats and want to build some more. Luke Graff has completed the final renders for the 1/32nd scale Caproni CA3.
I love it.
Look at this World War I
Oh,
Italian bomber.
Look at that. That'll be fun.
yeah, the U.S. Air Force Museum has one of these variants, Caproni bombers. I don't know if it's just the three, but it looks like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's a very distinctive plan.
Yeah, that twin boom and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the comment from Luke Graff themselves. If someone 10 years ago, when we started our adventure with models, said, let's make a Caproni CA3 in 132nd scale, I would have said, please sit down and rest because you don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't say that today, and here it is.
Wow.
They're also going to have a 48 scale one too, fully printed.
Oh
I
wow.
forget there was a show, I forget what show it was. That somebody had a Luke Graff kit for a good price, but it just was not a subject I was interested in.
Right.
If it were, I certainly would have bought it just to see what these kits are like.
Hmm.
Then again, I'm sure over time, it could have been one from 6 years ago, and the modern ones are just so different.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the everything we see on their website, all the pictures and everything look
Oh,
phenomenal.
nice. They got to do nice stuff. Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely they're definitely one of the contenders for the former Wingnut Wings stuff from what they're doing for the World War One fans.
Hmm.
Also in the 3D printed space in 132nd scale, Airscale's working on a 3D printed Bolton Paul Defiant, the Mark
Yeah.
One
That
in
looked amazing.
32nd scale. Yeah, that looks very nice as well.
Just the inside of the turret detail is incredible.
Yep, a lot of
Definitely cool.
a lot of masking.
Yeah. Not a
Have you-
particularly intelligent design for an airplane,
No,
but there you go.
yep.
Interesting.
But it
Like,
seems to have really caught the attention of modelers and model companies.
Well, it is interesting. I mean, no matter how you go, it's a fighter with a turret on it, and so you can have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, the turret fighter, they just didn't work. And then the Brits played with some other on some like twin engine bombers, like 30 millimeter turrets and such, and
yeah,
they did not play well with airframes.
no,
No,
they didn't. Sadly.
But these made great target tugs. They live forever as target
Yeah,
tugs.
yeah, and they worked at limited basis as some night fighters.
Yeah,
I was
at
I
least
was
get eyes in the air, right?
Yep.
I was reading an article on lousy world's worst airplanes and lousy prototypes, and I didn't realize this, but did you know somebody actually thought it was a good idea to stick a turret on a Mosquito?
Ugh.
They
I
They
did.
heard
played with
something
it
about
on
that.
all of
Yep,
these, on so
yep,
many planes.
What
The
yep.
a
Brits
dumb,
they had it in their teeth, right? They were going to make it work.
yeah, just so dumb. Anyway, whatever.
We're gonna make it work, damn it. All
Andy,
right. Anyway, Italeri 2025 catalog's coming out. They have a new catalog preview. Our friends at the Modeling News. A
Oh,
lot of truck.
I love the look of these European semi cabs.
Yep,
They just look cool.
I know. So you got a new mold. Uh, Iveco focus on the S-Way and the colorful Mercedes.
Yes.
That does look nice, that Mercedes truck
It
cab.
looks like a tip over.
You think so, but obviously, there's enough heaviness in the back end.
New Lancia. Look at
Yes,
that.
a new Lancia's there
The
and
Fulvia.
some new parts for the Bugatti 35B,
oh nice.
the Tega Florina
Yeah.
29 Monaco GP 1930 in a beautiful yellow. And how about the Royal Coupe Napoleon?
Yes.
So we should point out that 35B is 112 scale. So that's a big beast.
Mm.
A lot of re-released. They're going to re-release a bunch of their classics, almost like Airfix Vintage Classic, 32nd scale aircraft, an absolute plethora of them.
Mm.
And there's some 48 scale stuff.
I love how they have back again. Back again.
Back
In
again.
images. Back again.
And they've
It's
also
like
got,
how many agains?
I know, they've also got the F-35A in beast mode, 100% new molds,
Mm.
the MC-202 in 148 scale, and the C-200, the Machini C-200 Italian fighter in the big 132nd, as well as they're reissuing the Tornado GR1 in 132nd. So that is a big kit,
Mm.
that Tornado. And then we got some,
Oh, the Maki 202
yep.
in 32nd. Yeah. I have to pick that up. Love those
You like that?
Maki.
You like
I
that?
like the Italian fighters.
Yeah, okay.
The 202 is
It's
pretty
a good
good.
thing they didn't have decent engines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would have been in trouble.
Mm.
And then a lot of armor, some 35th scale stuff, some reissues, some new decals on some of their stuff. Not seeing a few back against Pack 40, The flak pans are 38. And then we got some new molds. They've got an Italian so Savamento. Oh, I might forget it.
Simovente? Where's the
Yeah, the
Simovente?
M43, further down.
Oh, there it is.
New molds, 135th scale. Looks like they've got the 105/25 and the 75/34 upgraded. Those are new molds. And looks like a lot of their 156, their game, what I call their game, war game series.
Hmm.
They've got quite a few there. They've got the whole line showing what they've got there. And then we've got a new part, another Italian PT boat, 135th scale, Italian torpedo boat.
Mm.
New
That'd be
parts. I've
neat.
seen these finished up at the at a show somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some one of these. Maybe it was the Butch O'Hare or someone. It has. There's some guys with do a lot of naval, and
right.
yeah, it's good size, but it looks great.
Yeah, it
Mm.
does. Looks really good.
It's like a
Then
Beautiful
they
boat.
then they've got a complete set for modeling. They've got a M1 Abrams, a Willys Jeep, and a Porsche 911. Comes with the kit, the glue, the brushes, etc. Tweezers, double-sided sandpaper, and a sprue cutter. Everything you need. They've also got 4 selected subjects dedicated to the War Thunder game, so they're working with the War Thunder again. The F-16, the Tornado, the Leopard 2A4, and the M1 Abrams. So, yep, you get a special bonus. I believe you get like a digital resource. So when you buy the kit, I believe you get, a month with the digital resource
Hmm.
online. I believe that's the way that works. So we will see more of the Atalary's full catalog in the coming days. So that's coming out from them. Trumpeter in February. What else? So I mentioned they had a couple of new things, but we do have these 2 featured ones. A French Navy, the Jeanne d'Arc 1964, their helicopter cruiser in 1 to 350 scale. And also the Barracuda.
Mm.
Jeanne d'Arc and
Jeanne
Barracuda.
d'Arc and
What scale's the
Barracuda.
Barracuda?
Hang on. I think it's 48th.
It's only half loading for me. So
Yeah, it's being slow. 148th. And at least it comes with a mask set. 45 masks.
You almost wonder if anybody's making new 172nd scale anymore.
oh yeah.
Well, there's a few coming out, but not many. Yeah, you're right. Airfix had a few in their lines. The Barracuda has foldable wings and that massive greenhouse, which is why I'm glad it comes with a mask set.
Yeah. Just after I say that, I think, well, that's what I'm making. I'm making a new IBG 172nd scale kit, and then the Arma kits. Yeah, so there's a lot of good 172nd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's still coming out. I also noticed this today. I was waiting for this. I'm surprised it took them this long. Ammo's come out with their own version of the weathering pencils. So this is called Lock and Load. This is a weathering rechargeable technical pencil. So what it is it's like a mechanical pencil. You get the leads in different colors, and then you put it in the pencil body, and then you do all your weathering, similar to the AK. It even has a built-in sharpener on instead of an eraser, it's got a little built-in sharpener. But it's the same idea as we've seen for
Hmm.
other manufacturers. You get 13 colors and the pencil body holder.
Interesting, interesting. I could see that being useful for very fine lines, like the
Yep,
mechanical pencil.
yep,
But I use mine. I use my weathering pencils. A lot of it I use just to sort of dip the tip in the water and use it
yep.
right on the paintbrush. And
Well,
so,
they had a couple of videos. They have a couple of videos showing how to use it, and it's exactly the same idea
yeah,
as the wax pencils, and they're showing how they can do it with that. So, yeah, for someone who maybe hasn't got another manufacturers yet, they could look at this.
So
This looks
these
neat.
are these are more like colored pencils, wax type pencils,
Yeah,
right?
same as the AK
Well,
weathering
AKs
pencils.
they're
It,
watercolor pencils.
well, it's like a waxy, but they're not true watercolors. It's like a waxy
No.
because I've got them.
yeah, they're different. They're different than a watercolor. I've tried both, and they have a bit more of a permanency to them than the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're gonna
yeah.
get watercolor pencils, I would go and get Derwent or someone.
Yeah, but this is only 25.66 US, so might be worth getting if
Interesting.
it's yeah, might be worth getting.
Maybe they'll send me one and I can test it out.
There you
Maybe,
go.
Send all three of them.
Yeah. Come on, Ammo.
Come on. What?
Talk to our
I'm working. I've been working with watercolors today. Come on, I would need to try these things too.
Here you go. Ammo, if you're listening to us, send Terry a box. Okay, now we're
They have
gonna
a
go.
set. They have a paint set for World War II ammunition colors.
Do they?
Am-
Yes,
ammunition colors.
ammunition colors.
Sorry. That's amazing.
Love it.
How's that for really narrowing in, right?
Yeah.
Northern Europe or Southern Europe? African or European swallow?
Yeah.
Uh, and most ammunition colors,
Most ammunition
including
color.
colors for ammunition belts and German, U.S., Soviet tank shells.
There you
My,
go.
my God.
All right, you'll have to throw that link up.
Yeah.
Okay, Scalemates. Lots of stuff in the new tool area. Again, this is January 20th. They've got an amphibious combat vehicle from WIP 3D. New tool, 1/35th scale. From Max Factory, I assume this is Japanese IP. Pat Labar, the Mobile Police, Type
Hang on,
Zero.
hang on.
Sorry,
I'm putting this in before I forget
he's
it.
putting that
Why?
link in.
Pat
That's all right.
Labor. Yeah, there's
Ty-
new activity around Pat Labor.
Yeah, they got a Type Zero VS Boxer from Max Factory. Looks like a Gundam, ready to kick some ass.
Hey, watch your mouth. It's Pat Labor.
Pat Labor. Pat Labor? Okay.
Yeah, they're not Gundam, so they're more industrial mecha,
Okay.
but there's also police, and they carry a 75 millimeter tank shell sidearm.
Of course, because that's what we need for civil pacification.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you need to settle, home disturbances.
But it's a really, I'm just now opening it up. The brand new Pat Labor kits?
Yeah, well, type.
Yeah, I gotta dig up.
Yeah, you have to dig that up. Then we've got from Gecko Heavy Industries a bunch of trucks in 1/72nd scale looks like from the 30s.
Unfortunately, I can't pull these up because I'm having to dial in from my iPad. But
Oh,
Because someone left their laptop at the other house.
someone left their laptop at the other house. Yeah, the last time we did this, I had my laptop, but I left my camera and mic and headphone at the other house. So now I got the camera and headphone and no laptop to plug.
We're just going to have to set you up with a studio in both locations, obviously.
I'm telling you, no, I have other things to focus on right now at the other house, which includes like toiletries and stuff.
Yeah, so that's all right. How about this? I didn't notice this one before. January 19th, Fokker DV2 OAW 7 Samurai Special Edition, Gotha Force 1/32nd scale.
yeah.
That looks
I know
interesting.
nothing about this Gota
No?
Force company.
Let's see what else. HMS Trafalgar, 1/350th sub. SS Models got a bunch of Italian destroyers, U.S. destroyers, Fletcher, Leon class. You can pretty well get any ship now, the 20th century now, in 1/350th scale, I think.
Yeah, these are all 3D printed,
Yeah. There's
which
some,
could be really nice.
yeah. How about an M3 Grant medium tank on January 17th, 1/144 scale? How's that for tiny?
Yikes.
Yeah. And then we've got something a bit bigger. How about a combine? January 16th, DON 1500A combine. Scale model of special equipment, 1/35th scale. They've got a combine, a tractor, a couple of combines, including it looks like a John Deere combine.
Yeah, it looks like a
pull up a couple of them and do an interstellar diorama. There you go.
There you go. FonJoy has something called the Iron Man Mark I, the Mark I suit in 1/12 scale.
oh wow.
And then we've got all the Airfix releases. The Tesla tank. A 1/144 de Havilland Canada DH7 or the Dash 7 in 1/144 scale from a company called Unbranded.
Hmm.
So yeah, all sorts of goodies here. And then Modern Tanks, I'm going to close out January 10th. Modern Tanks of the World, set 1 and set 2 from Pit Road, 1/700 scale. So for your transport ships or your dioramas in that tiny, tiny scale. Anything else you see there, Terry?
There's such a wide variety. Airfix has this Alvis Stalwart
Yes,
in 35th scale,
people are
the
very
triple
excited
axle
about that. Yeah.
military truck.
Yeah, people are very excited about that one, the
Yeah,
armor guys.
I would think so.
Yeah, I hadn't mentioned that before. Fly Models, January 8th. They had the Marcel Benson MB-411 Petrel, French submarine aircraft. So a flying boat, looks like from the First World War. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good way to end things. Okay, let's turn over to our good friends at Cult TV Man, who not only carries Paragraphic, but a whole bunch of other cool things. Here we go. Let's see now what's new and what's coming soon from our good friends at Cult TV Man. A lot of figures and busts coming up from Blackheart. We have the Salt Vampire Resin Bust for $36.99. The Gilman, the Micromania Diorama from Blackheart for $59.99. The Thing from Another World Resin Kit, $59.99. And the Mutant with Base for $59.99. Also brand new, Fantasy Figures International Magazine, January and February issue, number 29 for $14.99. And yes, they're going to have the pre-order of the Airfix space ships that were announced fairly recently from Airfix. The SLS Artemis in 1 to 144, the Space Shuttle 1 to 144, and the Saturn 5 to 144. These you can pre-order. The price is still to be announced, though. Also, from Red Alert, the Tesla Trooper figure, that kit, 112 scale for $31.99. That looks absolutely gorgeous. As well as the Apocalypse 2 tank for 135th scale, and the Tesla tank from Red Alert, 135th from Border as well. Those are going to be between $60 and $70. They've also got the International Space Station from Revell, the 1 to 144 scale. You can get that for $169.99. And also the Jupiter C with gantry, the 110 scale reissue from Revell, $36.49. We've been talking about these ones before, the USS Cerritos and the USS Enterprise. The Cerritos is 1/1400 scale for $53.99, and the Strange New World Enterprise is 1/1000 scale for $53.99. So definitely come and check out all these great deals that you'll find at culttvmanshop.com, and tell them the Scale Model Podcast sent you. All right, what's on the bench? Not much for me. I've got my airbrushes, my .5 airbrushes over at Badger, so I can't do much large paint jobs at the moment. They're at Badger. I haven't heard back from them yet. They did arrive safely, so hopefully I will get them back in one piece eventually. And we're slowly working on the Revell Land Rover, the 124 scale long wheelbase one. I got some painting done there. Fortunately, I did all the big priming and painting before I sent the brushes off. And I've also finished several Comstar battle mechs from Catalyst. Catalyst is coming out with the mercenary sets, and hopefully my local store will get them next month. Geoff, how about you?
Yeah, I've been plugging away at this. Frank Donati, the president of IPMS Canada, managed to score some review kits from IBG, and he kept all the military vehicle ones and passed the airplanes on to two of us in our club, George Ray and myself. And what I'm doing is a 1/72nd scale IAR 80 Romanian fighter, indigenous fighter that is a big, vaguely looks like the Howard Hughes H1 racing plane.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And first of all, I mean, I'm doing this kit and I have to write a review for it for IPMS Canada. But George got his in already. He's finished, and he got his article published in the latest online journal. And it looks amazing. His looks amazing. So it's pissing me off, if you'll pardon the expression, because now I have to compete with that. It's very much like a slow drip Musaru cup thing, where you get your work compared against somebody else's, and that's all great. But now I have to make this look half decent as opposed to just make it. And I'll tell you, this kit is amazing. If I thought the Arma P51 was really a good kit in 1/72nd scale, good molding, this is better. This is like I think I've described it as what Wingnut Wings would do if they made 1/72nd scale Romanian fighter planes. But it's a great kit, good instructions, really nice. And I'm at the decal stage, and about ready to start continuing the. I ingrained some of the weathering already in the initial paint job, and now I'm going to do some more after I finish coating it. But it's really good. But in the meantime, I've realized I get very impatient when it comes to building. When I'm building a model, like I want that paint to dry a lot faster than it's drying, and I want to jump ahead and do pigments or do something else. So I have to have at least one other project on the go at any given time, just to sort of soak up the impatience. So I started one that I got from Stuart at a swap meet a few years ago, the Arado ARE 555 America bomber, lift 46. And I would have thought this would be bigger than it is in 1/72nd scale. It's basically it's a kind of a relatively small medium bomber at best to go and take out New York City. I don't think so, but anyway, worth a shot. So I'm having fun with it, and I've lost track of all of my lead weights that I would use. So somewhere I reorganized my workshop, and now I can't find anything. So I think I'm going to have to do this as an aerial display because I can't weight it enough so it'll sit on the wheels, and maybe have a miniature New York underneath it, and maybe some pterodactyls just for fun.
Well, you got to have pterodactyls. I think it's funny though, but you were saying high things about the Arma and the IBG kit. They're both Polish manufacturers. They really do well on the 1/72nd scale.
This molding is incredible. It's incredible. The detail, it's beautiful. And they throw in a whole bunch of PE, which is probably over the top for most modelers. It's just a little too much. Some of it's a little too complicated to work with. But even so, it's there. And if you want to try it, you can do it. And if you don't, it looks fabulous anyway. So it's a really good kit.
So I have a thought. I have a thought about this. So, Frank and I have been trying to convince George he's got to take that to Heritage Con.
Yes.
I think you got to take yours to Heritage
No,
Con.
not a little mini Mooser. I can't cope with it. Too much pressure.
Oh, you'll be done. You'll be done.
You'll be done. See, Terry agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your plumber will be back from Cuba or no.
Cuba.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Cuba.
Yeah, it's Cuba. Huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then that'll all be off your mind and you'll be able to work.
Exactly. But speaking of Musaru, and
Yes.
what boy do I have?
Now, no inadvertent slips as to my themes or anything. Okay.
I'm not saying a thing. I'm just saying I know you've been working on it.
Because I've been sharing pictures with you guys and I trust you.
Yep.
Yeah, so that the time I have roughly a month, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So I was doing some mock-ups with foam core to see what I would need to do to get size wise and what size opening because it's gonna be a shadow box. I'll give you that much away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think I need to get a different opening, different frame for it. So that won't change much of anything except the front. So some of the hardest bits are done. I need to get into the airbrush booth, although the cold isn't a problem, but it's a motivational problem. When I see the weather's going to be literally 40 degrees warmer in several days, then I'll get in there and do some painting.
I'm the same. Like, as I have to, I've got a little vent thing for my airbrush booth, but it's when it's this cold, man, do you feel it in the basement?
Yeah, I don't really need mine's out in the garage, unheated.
Oh, yeah,
I don't need
worse.
For the amount of paint I'm spraying, I don't need a vent. It just goes into the room.
But it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what else you been working on?
So, got that going on. Got a little bit of work done. Actually, a fair amount of work done on the phalanx over the last several weeks, and then just last week, not too much. But I'm touching up the decals that have been beat up because they just will not stretch over the detail. But painting those out and get a little bit of weathering on it. I think I'll be done with that here pretty soon.
Cool.
It's essentially done. I'm not going to over weather the thing. These weren't out pounding sand or anything, so just a little bit of grubby on it, and that'll be done.
Excellent.
What else did I put in there? Oh yeah, that fine molds? No, Dora wings, Claude.
Yes.
Again, I need to get some clear coat, some dull coat on that cockpit bits before I put them together and put them in plane.
What do you use for your dull coat?
I really liked the not AK the AV premium or premier or whatever they call it,
Right.
dull coats.
Okay.
But I can't find that as it is, so I'm mixing up their matte varnish and thinning that down and spraying it now. Yeah, and that's working pretty well.
Cool.
What I need to do at this point, since I'm pretty satisfied with how it works, is mix up a bottle of it
Mm,
Yeah.
and just have it ready.
Just go to
Because I've
town.
got a little basket with all my airbrushing. It's like an apothecary's basket. It's all the stuff in there that I can bring in, not let sit out. In the
Yep.
summertime, it's no big deal, but not when it's this cold out there.
No, not
Yeah, the
Polyurethane
popsicle.
paints do not like the
Polyurethane
freezing.
popsicle.
Yeah, that's to me a paint's probably fine. Yeah, the alcohol-based type stuff, but I wouldn't even trust that.
no,
Right.
no.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay, what we are reading. I'll start. Still working on Return of the King by Tolkien, my reread on that. And Mr. Measley, it's all your fault that Stephen Baxter's Voyage that were going
Yeah,
through. That sounded so interesting. I went and got it and I read it in 3 days.
yeah, I
He's a
can't believe that.
he's a
I'm
good
just reading it
author.
at lunch.
He's a
I
good
like
author.
good conjectural,
Yeah,
alternate history conjectural. It's like where you just one or two conceits at the early beginning and then you go
yeah,
through it, like Harry Turtledove
yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly. No,
I also
excellent
liked his
book.
notes at the end.
Yes, they were good. I read the whole thing, and I'm gonna start on a second one eventually in that trilogy. Even though
Mhm.
they're not related. All right, Jeff, how about you?
Yeah, I've been reading a few things. I picked up a book called Empire of the Summer Moon, and it's about the Comanche
Mm.
Nation and the history of the Comanche Nation and its inevitable and essential destruction, but how long it held out. They held out and basically had all of Texas, or all of North Texas, and Arizona, and all the way out, all those states in the middle there. They had a real stranglehold. It was called Comancheria, and it was basically the plains where the buffalo roamed, so to speak.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And they were a horse tribe, and they were a buffalo hunting horse tribe, and the Americans essentially wiped them out by through the usual way, disease and wiping out the buffalo. And
Hmm.
it's kind of a crime against nature what happened to the buffalo herds. Just it
Oh, it
really
certainly is.
Yep.
it's really hard to read, and it's hard to be too sympathetic for the Comanche tribe because they were horrible. They were they were the classic warrior tribe. And all they didn't really have a religion. They didn't have culture as we would understand it. Um, they were warriors, period. They were like Spartans, and it was like nonstop. And they before the whites showed up, that was warriors against all the other tribes, and they wiped them out. They were hated by most of the other tribes.
Hmm.
Anyway, it's a fascinating story, and it's the history of them, but it's built around the last chief, and the last chief was the son of a white woman who was kidnapped when she was 9 years old. Her family was wiped out, and she was taken, and then she essentially uh, married into the tribe and stayed with the tribe and lost the English and learned Comanche. And every time they tried to rescue her, she refused to be rescued.
Hmm.
And eventually she was essentially picked up and brought back by a raiding party, a white raiding party, and she hated it, and she basically died on the vine in what she considered to be captivity. But her
Hmm.
son was this amazing leader, and he adapted well to the end of the Comanches. He basically the reservation life, and became heavily involved in politics, and it's really an incredible story. Anyway,
Fascinating.
I highly recommend it. I read it in a space of about 3 days, 4 days. I couldn't put it down,
Mhm.
and it's an area of history that I know very little about, and I now know a lot more about, and it's fascinating. And I think everybody should know more about this period of time, this period of history. It's definitely
Yeah,
worth it.
Interesting. Interesting.
But
excellent.
finish that book. and picked up another one that my son-in-law, lent me, and I'm pretty sure I've read it before. It's the first book one in a trilogy, and it's called The Sky Stone by Jack White, who's a Canadian author out of Toronto. But it's sort of like a reimagining of the King Arthur myth as an actual fact. In other words, the myth that we know of today has there's truth behind it that has been distorted through time.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is interesting on its own, and it sort of takes place in post-Roman Britain during the beginning of the Dark Ages, and that's when the myth begins. And there's a true sword, and there's a true Lady of the Lake, and there's a true guy who's sort of like Merlin, and it's all nothing magic, no dragons, and no kingdoms per se. But you can sort of see how the myth could develop from the real story, and it's a lot of fun. It's really well written, and I would recommend this highly as well.
Yeah,
I'm writing it down now.
Yep, I read all three a couple of years back, and yeah, you guys will enjoy it.
Terry, once you start reading it, you can't stop. It's
Yeah,
on
the
train.
I've done a lot. I've looked into that. So much is impossible to know, but there are bits and pieces of real history and clues out there that, he could have been a guy here that is mentioned over here.
Yep.
But yeah, most of what we know about the Arthur, it's from fiction.
Yeah. And Jack White's an amazing author. All of his books are good.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it.
Dude can sing too.
Very easy to read. Yeah. Well, that's me.
Okay, Terry, how about you?
Great. Yeah. So I finished Voyage by Stephen Baxter, as we spoke about. I do like how he ended it as well. It's like a Neil Stephenson book. It just ends with an end. Yeah. There's no afterward, no wrapping up anything. And Titan is the second book, and its central conceit is that the Huygens probe discovered life on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And that's the jumping off point. And I'm really right now still in the place setting. So the Chinese will be involved with this as well. America's space program is, as always, subject to congressional change every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chinese seem to have a nascent, at this point, but focused. So very interesting. So we'll have to see what he does with that. And there's a third book too. So I presume that will also be similarly unrelated to the other two, except that it will be an alternate history of
it is unrelated.
Space program.
It is unrelated. I looked them up on Amazon. And the third book involves the moon. And that's all I'll say. So
okay. Yeah. I'm also just go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the moon crashing into the earth. No.
Well, Neil Stephenson wrote a book. God, what was the title of that book? It's essentially something hits the moon, right? And it breaks it into pieces and eventually recoalesces, but a lot of it comes into the atmosphere, heats the hell out of Earth. They have just a couple of years to get their shit together. And the ISS is using a piece of the moon as a protection up front.
It's called
a space arc.
Seven Eves. 2015.
Right. Yep. It is a space arc that never leaves Earth orbit.
Oh, neat. So it's just basically a place to hide.
Yes. And there were, at the same time in that same year, there were like 4 other space arc books released, including one by my friend Pat Tomlinson, just called The Ark or something like that. And that was worth reading. That's a more traditional adventure kind of book. Well written. I enjoyed Pat's books. But they were all very different. There's one of them where a space arc gets to its destination, realizes it doesn't work, breaks itself in half because one faction wants to keep going and the other one wants to go back to Earth. So one of them goes back to Earth. It's people are playing with that genre, the space arc genre now. To good use. That's
sort of like, it reminds me a bit of the old Arthur C. Clarke Rama series, where it got progressively more political, and you had this fabulous colony in space, but then it was tearing itself apart because of political issues. Yeah. So it's like you can go wherever you want, but you got your problems.
You're still people. I mean, half of us, if not all of us, are still going to be dicks.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the other thing I'm reading is since the Bleach anime, Thousand Year Blood War came out, the books, the manga series, the box sets in English are available and for an affordable price. So I've been picking those up
Oh,
and
very
reading
good.
those and seeing how they compare to what I remember of the original series.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so that's what we've been reading. As always, I always try and keep the what we're reading page or what we like page updated with the latest books, so I'll make sure I add those new ones as well.
Yeah, and share if you guys are reading interesting stuff out there, share it with us. I want to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scale model podcast at gmail.com.
Or
Please
even
let
on the
us know.
Facebook or
Or
somewhere.
on the
Yeah.
Facebook group, definitely. All right, let's talk to our friend Sean from Sean's Custom Model Tools. Now we're going to talk a bit about Sean's Custom Model Tools, one of our other sponsors of the Scale Model podcast. Some very cool things, both 3D printed and the Goodman Super Sanding blocks. Let's start with the Microset and Microsole decal set bottle stand. This is purposely designed for the microscale set and sole. Most modelers over the years, they've tipped these bottles over. So this is a very handy thing. At $14.95, you can put them both together. They're printed in blue and red for easy identification. Comes with a black base, and they actually have little magnets on it, so it helps keeps them in place. Definitely a good deal. I use mine all the time, and I can well recommend them. Let's talk a bit about those Goodman Model Super Sanding blocks, namely the Value Pack combo for $28.99. You get the 80 grit, 180 grit, 220, 320, 400, and 600. Just an amazing set, just what you need. And you can also, if you want, you can also get a super sanding block stand for it, which also really makes life a little bit easier, helps things keep it organized. The other thing too is they have the awesome model tape dispenser for your various tapes. It's basically a 3D printed thing. You put spools of your tapes. It's got a little razor blade to help cut it, and it's really, really good design. So yeah, works out really well, and yours for $19.95. So check out these and other amazing deals at Sean'sCustomModelTools.com, and also on Facebook, and tell them that the Scale Model Podcast sent you. Okay, a couple things in the things we've seen. These are all unfortunately on Facebook, so hopefully most of you will be able to see it. William Adair, I noticed on the On Your Bench Facebook group, which is of course our friends from On the Bench in Australia. He builds tiny, and I mean 1:144 scale single engine fighters. So if you go to his page, which I've got the link there, he's got like his cover page is a little tiny RAF fighter next to a Humbrol enamel thing, paint pot, fully rigged. This one's a German World War I fighter's monoplane, which he basically, it took a year of trial and error, mostly error, but I managed to make a pair of scratch-built spoked wheels in 1:144. And then it shows it on this fighter on top of a matchbook, a little matchbox. Yeah, and as someone said, never before has my gob been so smacked.
Well, I
Yeah.
gotta say, he solved the display space problem.
Oh my God, has he
Right.
ever? Yeah. Yeah, he
It's like the
mentioned,
little Japanese with Z scale trains or
yeah,
something.
exactly. Well, he mentioned in another post somewhere that once this thing's rigged, there's like a point 0.5 millimeter, there's only like a 0.5 millimeter space where he'll be able to lift this thing. So he's going to have to custom design a pair of tweezers.
Interesting.
So it doesn't, because
Yeah.
otherwise he's going to hit and break the rigging.
That's hadn't thought of that, but that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, but you look at this. So William Adair, hopefully his page is public. I was already friends with him. But just some amazing, amazing work. Just yeah, yeah, I'm gobsmacked about that. The IPMS Bolton show was on just this last weekend. A lot of interesting stuff there. Someone scratch built a Halifax bomber in 1/32 scale. But what's interesting is they opened up the fuselage. So the fuselage is just all the various support spars with the full interior. And
Wow.
just, yeah, just absolutely gorgeous work
Yeah, it's
there.
pretty cool.
And again, totally scratch built because I don't think anyone has a 1/32 scale Halifax out right now. But just
Uh,
absolutely gorgeous
Yeah, yeah, incredible.
with the spars and
yeah,
whatnot. Yep. And then yeah, we can't forget Model Airplane Makers 2025 wish list.
yeah. Put this one on. I saw this today. Chris does a wish list every year, and
Yep. Yep. So he's done
I
that.
like
So
how he describes the kits that are out there if it's something that needs to be refreshed.
hmm
Hmm.
Okay, and we'll definitely get Chris on. We'll see him at Heritage Con, of
Hmm.
course, and we'll get
Yeah,
him on there. But we'll try and get him on before then. We've got a bunch of guests coming up. We've got Heritage Con, we've got Wonderfest, all sorts of stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, I thought you were winding me up, Terry. Adam World War II ammunition colors.
No, no, I put it on there because yeah,
The Adam paint line.
it's
that's
you
fun.
gotta love it.
Color sets for everything.
I'll
Well, they
make.
have they have quite they have quite a few. Yep. When you want your shells to be that accurate color. What do we got here? We got gunmetal, gold pink, satin black, yellow, copper, and olive grun dark.
Somewhere I saw a mechanism a method for putting stripes on. I gotta dig that up. I'll write a note for that. The
Yeah,
the
that'll.
stripes around the bombs, you know.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah, I've seen various techniques people use. So yeah, that
I
would
saw
be.
someone built a 3D printed tool for it, but yeah, I'm not sure
You
where I
got.
saw that. I'm sure I saw it on
I
Facebook.
remember
Yeah.
seeing one where you chucked it into a drill and just sort of
Yeah.
spin it slowly and then just hold the paintbrush close to it or something.
Well, I think this one he may be printing it out of kind of that slightly elastic material.
Ah,
So it
yeah,
sits on there and then you just have different sizes that you could put on and do
yeah,
your painting work. And it makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, it
If it's
does.
big enough, you can use O-rings and things like that, but that's not always a good
Yeah, yeah,
demarcation.
exactly. You got to see
You
what you
won't
can
get
find.
as Yeah, you won't get as clean a line. That's the thing. No, that's not interesting. It's good though.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All this good stuff going on because we can safely say the hobby is not dying.
It's not
We've
even coughing up blood. It's not even
no,
coughing.
no, we're
It's
in the golden age. We're in the golden age.
it's an astonishing time.
It
It
really is.
is.
It really
It is.
is.
It is indeed. Any other last comments before we go with our last word, gentlemen?
No, just rub two sticks together and keep warm. That's all.
That's basically all we can hope for. All right. So for more modeling podcast goodness, check out the other modeling podcasts at modelpodcast.com. Please leave us a positive review. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and our very own website, scalemodelpodcast.com. I'm also doing unboxing reviews, not really a review, but unboxing. And they're available at blackfire.ca. I try and do one a week, or at least one every 2 weeks. So definitely check that out.
I saw on Facebook that you picked up that uh, the day after I went to Broughdale Hobby Shop, and I saw the Airfix Rotodyne kit behind them on the wall. You went in and bought it.
The Airfix Rotodyne
That's
kit?
been around. You want me
Oh
to
yeah,
keep an
no,
eye
I've had
open?
that
I'll
for a
keep an
while.
eye open for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's been released, I don't
That's
know,
it's their vintage
Oh, I know
40
classic.
times now.
It's the
it's
vintage
probably nice.
classic. He can order it for you, Geoff.
I don't want it. No, no, I've got
No,
enough.
I don't want
I like looking at it though.
Oh, I see. I see. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to do I'm going to do an RCAF, but I'm trying to debate whether I should do like an RCAF rescue, like in yellow.
Oh yeah, you'll blow out their eardrums, but you'll save them. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Oh,
All sorts of different ideas. Or I could do I've got all these UN Spacey decals from my Valkyries.
It could be a crowd clearing device, like for
it
urban
could go
urban
onto the UN
corporate.
Spacey.
Yeah, I could
It
do a
could go
UN
into that.
Spacey early version of that.
There you
All
go.
sorts of ideas I have for that. You know,
Um,
but it is the unboxing. You can tell it's a very classic mold, shall we say?
Classic. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
find one of the northern Yukon type um airlines.
There you go.
Any of those. There's so many of those old defunct airlines from the 70s.
Yeah, something like that. That would work too. Yeah, because designed for getting into those places
Yeah,
where there's no airports or whatever. Yeah,
right.
that could be an idea.
Well, that's what you could use the other Airfix old Airfix that they re-released, the RN1 or the HR1, whatever it is, the hovercraft.
The hovercraft, yeah, you
Yeah,
could do that too. Definitely, definitely. All sorts of
up in
fun
Puget
ones.
Sound on the 4 days a year you could operate a hovercraft up there.
You'd worry about it melting all the ice.
Just sliding under the waves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
fun.
Jeez. All righty. Well, I think that's about it for today, gentlemen. So for episode 150 of the Scale Model Podcast, my name is Stuart Clark.
I'm Jeff Highland.
And I'm Terry Measley reminding you that the temperatures may be falling, but the hobby is heating up.
Very good.
Oh.
Well done.
God, I hate myself.
Thank you and be well.